Alright traders, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to cover specifically the charts on AMC, give you the price action, what we're seeing, what the OBV is doing, where the stock moved today. We didn't really get that trending that we kind of wanted, that consolidation. So I want to talk about that and where I do see this going. Now, people want to say, Tyler, what are your positions? Are you in? Are you out? Did you paper hand? I never sold a position. I've remained held inside my options. I have mentioned that I did not buy any more options on the dip. The last place that I bought it was at the $11 range, in between there, and then I have those spotted on my last video, so you can actually see the timestamp on those as well if you want to verify. Now, if you're in this stock, I will say this is the riskiest stock maybe on the market right now, along with some penny stocks, but AMC has a lot of residual risk. You're going to hear me use that word a lot, residual risk, because there is tons of it attached to AMC and GameStop. So just know that when you're getting into this stock, I just want that to be a full disclosed fact on AMC. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. Alright, so the first thing we're doing, I'm actually going to move my face to the right hand side. Maybe that clarifies some things, but I want to look at the range that we trended in today. And you heard me mention yesterday that best case scenario was we trended either up here above $11, which looked very likely going to the early part of the day. And then I also mentioned I would also be okay with this trending down here at this 9.4 support, because that 9.4, 9.5 is a massive support as well. And that's why I was really surprised to see us break down through. But you saw us actually bounce that monthly level, which I mentioned in yesterday's video. Now, it's worth mentioning, I want to disclose, I did not add any more positions. I did not add any stock. The last time I entered any positions were right around this level right here at this major support, because I mentioned if we hit 11.2, I would be adding some. So I did. And then I have some longer dated calls as well for April 1st. So these are all coming into fruition right now. So I want to discuss the short term primarily, and then we can talk about the long term as well. Okay, so with everything going on, we had a huge whipsaw. This is ultimately what I did not want to see on the price action, but like everyone says, look, anything can happen when it comes to AMC. We cannot predict exactly where it's going. We can just see the big resistances, see the supports, and kind of guess where we suspect to see bounces, and that's what I'm doing. I'm showing you where I see massive supports, where I see us to get bounces, maybe get some relief, and hopefully to get some consolidation, because that consolidation is kind of the most bullish factor when it comes to this, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more. So we saw this whipsaw getting a push up to that 11.2, 11.4 range, and everyone says, Tyler, price action isn't real, we don't hit these supports, there's no charting. Well, if it wasn't real, then we wouldn't respect these trend areas, correct? We wouldn't respect the support and resistances. So that's not to say that I'm right about anything, that's just to say that it is respecting resistances and supports. That's one thing that AMC does continue to do. But when we had this massive breakdown, it wasn't really respecting them. We were actually dropping straight through them. The only one that we did break straight through was this 950. We actually did get somewhat of a trend in this range at 1120, but it broke through very, very quickly as well. So I want to mention that we did get this almost a double top. We came up, came a little bit higher, and then were rejected. Now, it's worth mentioning, up until the end of the day, the Nasdaq and indexes were looking pretty brutal. They were getting wrecked pretty hard, and had a little bit of downside, right? So this whole day, SPY did double top of that range as well and push down. But the difference is here is at the end of the day, SPY pumped very hard, and AMC and GME really didn't get that push up. Now, I love GME's chart. I'm going to have another video coming out on them. That chart looks very bullish, and I discussed them in the live streams as well. And I know you guys hate the words bullish and bearish, but it's the simplest way to explain if a stock is going up, in my opinion, or has potential maybe to go down. Now, I do believe long term, I continue to say AMC does have a long term potential to go up. There's tons of manipulation. I'm going to save the manipulation video for tomorrow. I'm going to go in depth on everything that you guys want me to cover, but I want to cover just the charts tonight, because this is kind of the most interesting part. So we closed kind of in this area of no man's land. That's what I call this area. In between these two supports, we're just going to be trending. And it's very surprising that we trended and ended where we did. Now, people were saying there's support right here at 10.10, $10 flat. And yes, there might be some support there, but I'm not in love with that support. This isn't going to hold very strong. You can see when we came in this area before, we bounced quickly, came down, and we just saw a lot of price action just up and down whipsaw. We don't really want to see that. In my opinion, we want to see that trending. Now, why do we want to see that? So let's go to I borrow rate. Now, this is pretty interesting. So we're seeing that borrow rate once again. It's dropping off the top. As we started getting this crazy volatility, the borrow rate's dropping down again. Now, what I want to see for that borrow rate to start kicking back up, and it's something that we saw before, when we see that consolidation, right, when we see that sideways movement, that's when we really start to see that bar rate start to kick up. And when we saw that bar rate last time start to kick up towards 10-12%, that's when we saw that massive move, correct, from 9.4 all the way to the original like $12 touch. We saw it almost instantaneously within about a day and a half. It was instant back to that $12 range, came down, and then we did the $14 push. And you'll remember when I was talking about it, when I said 9.4 is a major resistance because we just consolidated so much, and then as we came down, the bar rate continued to increase, and we kind of came back up, and then we're about 12-13% at right here, and then we pumped straight through it, and then from there the bar rate started to drop, and the bulls kind of took over in that scenario right there. Now, am I saying that that's what's setting up here? No, that's not what I'm saying, but consolidation leads up to a bullish breakout typically, right? When I mentioned when we got this movement, if we got a whipsaw, that it was likely that we get some like rejection back to the downside, correct? So when we get this whipsawing back and forth, and there's no healthy correction on either way, typically you get some equal reaction to that upside level, right? So if you get a really quick whipsaw to the top, you're gonna need a whipsaw back down. That's why every time we're seeing these parabolic movements on AMC, you're gonna see it's a trend. Every single time we have these massive levels, right? We were at 11, we shot up to 14.5. Shot back down. We shot up right here from 10 all the way to 12. We shot right back down. Now, granted, that was definitely manipulated right there by a hedge fund, so we'll save that one, I guess. When we shot up from 7 all the way to about 11 right here, we shot right back down the same day. It's a very big trend that keeps happening, right? It keeps repeating itself over and over. So when we're seeing this quick volatile movement, and we didn't see it as much today. We didn't see just a straight candle to the top side. We did see it right here. Then we kind of topped out and double topped and came back down. I did think we were going to hold during the beginning of this day, so that's worth mentioning. But right now we are below the VWAP, which shows we aren't in a, as much bullish momentum. However, we're still above 9.4, which is what I wanted to see to maintain this bullish outlook, right? I wanted to maintain above this. However, we didn't get consolidation. We had that whipsaw movement, right? We just quick moves up, rejection, coming back down. So this is leaving us a little bit in the wind. We don't really know what's happening here. Another thing I want to look at is the OBV. So as we come down to the OBV, we are seeing that consolidation here. And this is something that's really important because when we got that consolidation at 9.4, we saw some bullish consolidation to the upside, right? It was just trending on the upside. Here, granted, it's a little bit more on the downside, but we're still seeing that consolidation, right? Just completely sideways pinching action, which is ultimately what you want to see for a next level breakout to the upside. And all things considered, with how bearish we had the past few days, we didn't have that big of a drop. This was the only really major drop we had, and besides that, it was just kind of slow, choppy moving on the downside, and now we're flatlining out. And this flatlining is really, like I said, what you want to see, this flatline type wedge. So as we zoom back out, let's take a quick look. You can see that this has more upside than I think the OBV shows, right? So the OBV, as you can see, we have a little bit of upside bouncing, and then we kind of have that downside, right? But as you see, we're kind of coming down still, but the OBV has us pushing up as well. So that is something really good to take into note. And then I do want to notice where we are getting that bounce on the OBV as well. As you zoom out and kind of flatten this out, you can see that we're holding this level of support that we kind of flipped before. And it's important. I usually use blocks instead of just a straight trend line. Blocks tend to have more respect, and you can kind of just see it's an overall zone most of the time and not just a specific one point on a line. So I just recommend using that instead of just using a trend line, because you're going to see more oftentimes than not, it's going to wick a little bit below it, a little bit above it. So a block gives you a better viewpoint of that area, and I call them order blocks. So that's what I love to see, is these blocks of support mounting, and it's doing it right now on the OBV. So if we can get this flatlining and this rounding, this is similar to what we saw around the $5-6. We're seeing that rounding, we're seeing this correction. That doesn't look bad, all things considered. The thing that would have made me very bearish and have a really negative outlook is if we broke below that monthly level at 8.8. That would have been really bad for the stock, but we didn't. We bounced. We look solid. We're still holding that level down there. That's worth noting. Now, coming to Monday morning, I can't give an answer where we're going to be. I'm not going to give you an exact answer and say we're going to have a strong opening. Pre-market's going to be very strong. We're going to move towards $12. I can't give you that answer, but I can say it does look strong the way we're getting. We can see more volume kicking back into the stock. You see us holding these levels as well in this downside. It appears that we're showing some strength here on the stock, and I do like that. That does look promising, but it is important to notice that we didn't get the best movement possible. You know what I mean? The best case scenario, we trend at one of these levels, either right below the top support or right above the bottom support or right above the top support, right? We wanted to see one of those, and we really didn't. We're seeing that whipsawing, like I mentioned. I keep using that word because it's important to know you don't want to see these quick reactions, in my opinion. You don't want to see these quick ups and downs, because when you do, you're going to see the inverse reaction when you start to get that retrace. You know what I mean? You're going to see the same exact levels coming back down. You know, we're not getting that healthy pullback like we were getting in these ranges, right? So we were getting these pulls up, and then we were kind of trending, and then we're getting another pop up. Granted, we were rejected, but we were still trending over and over. And that's why AMC was looking so strong, that we'd get these movements up, come down, trend, and then just start steadily moving back up. And I hope that we start to trend a little bit more coming into the beginning of this week coming up. But I'm very curious to see exactly how we move. I don't want to see an instantaneous move up to start the week. I would love to see some consolidation above this $9.5, $10 range, and then I would love to see a push back above that 11.4. Okay, so that's going to wrap up the video. Basically, just wanted to give you my overall chart viewpoint of AMC. Now, people are getting a little bit mad that I'm giving my honest feedback on everything going on here with AMC, but I'm going to always give you my honest feedback and what I see the stock doing. Do I still have all my positions? I want to clarify that. Yes, I'm not telling anyone to sell. I'm not telling anyone to buy. I'm not doing anything like that. This is not financial advice. I'm just giving you my transparent view, and I will always be honest with my viewers. Everything like that. Like I said, I did not buy any more on this dip. I'm not going to overextend or anything like that. I like where I'm at with my positions. I feel comfortable with them, and that's the most important thing, right? Because I'm primarily trading options, and we're getting that volatile movement, but in the long-term scheme of things, I want to see consolidation, because consolidation is going to be what gives us that next leg up to get past that 14.5, move to that $17, $20 range, and maybe get that $30 breakout that everyone wants. Now, there's a lot of manipulation going on here. I'm going to make a video going over what I think about the manipulation, some of the stuff going on, a lot of questions being asked about here, so I'm going to be able to refer everyone to the specific video I have coming out. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up down below, leave a subscribe, and I appreciate all the love and support. Have a good one, boys. Namaste.
Check.